Anderson. He's the happiest software engineer out there. And I love his content on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. And I came across some great stuff. He's going to be talking today about how to break into tech and all the good stuff, all the tricks. And I'm going to pop him in right here. I believe he's with us. All right, Eric, how's it going?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. So, you get into tech and maybe you learn some coding but you eventually want to get a job, right? So fill us in. Like, what are the tricks? Like, they all say you got to have experience. So, like, I know one of your videos was, how to get work experience without work experience.
Yes, that's right. That's the most difficult thing because at least in the job search perspective, in a recruiter's mind, at least those that I've worked with, the biggest differentiator in an entry-level candidate is relative work experience. And early on in your career, when you have none, it's easy for you to just focus on what you do have control over, and that is your personal projects or maybe studying data structures and algorithms. But there's another option that I would encourage my the mentees that I work with to pursue, which is all about finding alternative ways to get yourself experience instead of waiting for some corporate benevolent overlord to gift you what that work experience.
Right. I know. There's so many different ways, and yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say. One person said, "Hey, just get a job at Wix, like just in customer service."
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, there are more than one ways to get into tech, and that's the common difficulty is most people I work with are coming from non-traditional backgrounds, other careers, and they don't know what they don't know. So they study software engineering and then just Google software engineering jobs, go to Indeed and look for software engineering jobs, and everybody's looking for the same software engineering jobs. So to touch point a little bit on what you just said, there are other ways: a help desk, IT support, QA. These are other roles, and I got a whole list that I talk about on LinkedIn that you can target those first. There'll be less competition. There's high demand for them. An alternate approach as well is to work with your local network, either through volunteer work or maybe a family friend or family member that you have that owns a small business and doing contract work for them. Now, you may not get paid a lot, or you may not get paid at all, but you're not getting paid to work on a personal portfolio project. So you're not necessarily losing anything by building something for somebody else, but you gain the added credibility.
Right. And now, are there any like websites that you might look at to get those kind of? I mean, just besides maybe you know the usual LinkedIn jobs or.
Yeah, so I would say keeping in mind that the goal here is to get experience. So Upwork, Fiverr, I mean, these are the common ones that I recommend. You're not going to get paid a lot at all. In order to kind of get your foot in the door, you're going to be having to undercut the competition to put work out there. But at least you'll be able to get experience developing solutions for a real life client and having to maybe understand a legacy code base that you're inheriting from them. And these are all things that recruiters are looking for is real practical experience.
Right.
Besides that approach, some other websites that I recommend are like Code for America, Donate Code, or ragtag.org. These are volunteer based organizations that typically have some sort of team lead, technical leadership that is looking for volunteers. So they are wrangling everybody together to try and do some work for a nonprofit.
Oh
So
wow.
once again, not getting paid there, but you get experience working on a team now. At least in the software development world, that's half the battle
Right.
is understanding how to understand other people's code and be able to work effectively together. So anyway, volunteer work and kind of that low paying contract work that you can do on the side. I'm not saying 20 hours a week or even 40 hours a week. But these are all things that you can do in your free time on the weekends or in the evenings where you would have worked on a portfolio project. You now work on this so you can put it as a line item under your work experience.
Right, right. And that's another thing is like just collaborating with others. That's another kind of skill too, right? Like,
Yeah, so there's a third option there, actually. You mentioned that video specifically, but you can go to different meetups that are not technology based, but are a startup or entrepreneurial focused. You'll meet tons of business owners or budding business owners who have all of these great ideas, but don't necessarily have the technical foundation to execute on any of them. So you partner with these business partners. Maybe you only get paid in equity, but once again, you just put a few hours a week into this while they handle, creating the LLC and formalizing the business documents and all of that. Now, all of a sudden, you're a founding engineer on a small startup, and it's work experience, right? That you can put on your resume, even if it's not your typical 9 to 5.
right. And how do you connect with those? Is there a website or a place to
Yeah,
go?
so meetup.com is the primary one that I recommend. There are others, but that's the one top of mind right now. You can just do a search for startup or entrepreneur, and there'll be all sorts of events in that space that you can connect and be a part of. And in general, in addition to that, I would also recommend just joining the meetup groups for the local developer groups relative to your technology stack in your area too. Because oftentimes hiring managers or recruiters may attend there, or you connect with other software developers in your local market who would be probably, obviously more experienced than you and maybe more plugged into opportunities in your local market.
Wow, those are some really great pointers. I mean, some people might not think of that, and it's great to learn all these little tricks. It's all about collaboration too, and like you said, people be looking for, because the pay goes way up there, and like if you're trying to start a startup in your business, you don't have any money, or you got this idea, but you got some willing participants who are learning. I mean, that's really great.
It's a win-win for everybody. You get experience and they can kind of help get maybe a proof of concept out the door that they can show to investors or what have you. And you don't necessarily even need to dedicate 20 or more hours a week to it, which means if you need to, starting out, you can still work a part-time job or another full-time job, still have income coming in while you try to do this career transition.
Wow, excellent, excellent. Now, what other stuff do you do? I'm besides you have an IT business too, right? Consulting.
So yeah, it's to clarify, I'm involved in a lot of different things. But primarily, I work for a software development firm, or sorry, I work for a restaurant company inside of their IT division. Yum Brands, they own KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and the Habit Burger. So I
Okay.
work on their backend systems 9 to 5 there, and that is my full-time job.
Oh, okay, cool.
But in my free time, I have my own podcast helping junior developers from non-traditional backgrounds find that first job in tech, where we talk about topics like this, interview industry experts, other recently hired junior developers to give you kind of real life practical experience. And then I'm also a co-organizer of the largest software developers meetup in the DFW area. So I am biased when I recommend meetups because I host one of them, and I hope you attend so
Yeah.
we can develop that network and support each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's great. That's what I developed this show, is like to try to bring more attention to software developers, and I think that's what your show is about too, because you're always come up with this cool, ways to connect and bring out in a fun way too, right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it's
so
hard. It's a hard industry right now to get into. In end of 2022, early 2023, we had some massive layoffs in big tech. They've continued to a smaller degree, but still at sizable numbers throughout the year, which meant that the average software developer breaking into tech that I work with can take 6 months, 9 months to get that first job. Many kind of give up and get disheartened. So that is why I want to jump in and kind of help where I can.
right. And you make it so exciting too. That's why I was drawn to you. I was like, oh,
Thank you.
it's
I
so quick
appreciate it.
too. All your
Hopefully.
stuff is so quick and eye catching. I like to do an hour show, but that's kind of my style. But it's more slow and everybody talks. But your stuff is like right to the point. And I love it.
Yeah, it's all based off of my own. I've never been officially diagnosed with ADHD, but I know personally, like if I see a YouTube video and it's over like even 10 minutes, like, okay, well, I guess I will never watch that one. Or if it
Right,
is, I'm gonna watch it on 2x speed and just
right,
kind of gotta get the content and move on. Yes,
right.
there's just life you gotta get back to.
No, no, I know. I totally get it. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on with us, and tell everybody how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so I am most active on LinkedIn. So Eric B. Anderson, world's happiest software engineer. That's the funny little tagline I have for myself. And then the YouTube channel is just Junior Jobs Podcast, 3 words. Those are the primary social media platforms I'm the most active on.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Eric, for taking the time out too. You're so busy and everything. I know you love this, but I'm very appreciative, and I think everybody else will be when they see this.
No, happy to be here and do anything we can to kind of surface strategies to help new folks break into tech.
All right, thanks, Eric. We'll catch up. Hopefully, we'll invite you on next time too.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Bye.